So the question was, what is this thing called leverage that I was talking about earlier? Thank you. Nice question. Leverage. I spoke about this, and leverage is something that anyone that is doing any transactions in real estate is allowed, and it will be able to enjoy the power of leverage. Leverage meaning to compound your effort. So this is what it means. Let's say you buy a house for $100,000. This is just an example. Maybe back in the year 1500, houses were $100,000. To buy a house for $100,000, you don't need to have $100,000. You put in, say, $20,000 of your own funds, which represents 20%. And then the bank will give you the remaining 80. Okay, so that makes 100. Now, we spoke earlier about how in the last 10 years, real estate prices have doubled. Now, I have to caution you and put a disclaimer because there's also the value of the dollar has depreciated, and we need to know the inflation-adjusted appreciation. The inflation-adjusted appreciation, that's the little formula I was talking about. But to keep things simple, suppose we start with a $100,000 property. If the trend continues the way it has been, it's an up and down trend. But if you look at it overall, just as in the past 10 years prices have doubled, we expect, no one knows the future, but we expect that prices will continue to double over the following 10 years. So your house that's $100,000 today, we expect it to be worth $200,000 in 10 years. $200,000. Now, in 10 years, that's a little less than half of a mortgage. Most mortgages are 25 years, so 10 years is less than half. You're also paying down your mortgage. So this $80,000 debt that you're paying back to the bank, you've maybe not paid, not half, not 40, I'm going to say 30,000. So you've had an appreciation from 100 to 200. Your debt has decreased from 80 to, you've paid down 30, so you still have 50 owing. And that means if you were to sell your house at this point, you now have $150,000. Okay? 20 of which was your initial capital, and the 30, the difference between these two, is what you've paid down just by living. This is the 30 you would have paid off by renting anyway, plus of course there are interest and all that stuff. But let's keep things simple. I don't want to talk about 150. Let's just say there's 100 more. Remember, the initial capital employed was 20,000. So over 10 years, to take 20,000 and make an additional 100, that means we are making $10,000 per year for 10 years. That's a 50% return on your capital every year for 10 years. That's a very significant return in what's considered to be a safe investment. And that's what I mean by leverage, and that's why I love being in real estate. Thank you very much.